Welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar. I said, hey, welcome to the...
One up.
We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and
Hang on,
smoke a
no,
really
just let it go,
fine
let it go.
cigar.
It's all good, man. We're gonna do this again like this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna step on that.
I love it.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
This is the best
Rehearsal.
ever.
Those folks that follow us on Facebook, they're like,
You know. Everybody knows.
you know.
All right, hold that thought.
All right, here we go.
Hold that.
Let's try this
Hold
again.
that. Second verse.
I said, hey.
Same as
hey,
the first.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for a happy hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox.
And we are in the palatial, posh, exclusive, seductive studios of the podcast, Your Voice, the Man Cave Happy Hour Suites.
Are there any more adjectives you want to throw out there?
I'm working on a few.
All right.
That's it. I'm just trying to pack them in.
Are they going to be witty?
That's the name of my porno.
That's what. Hey, wait a minute. That was
Packing them in.
Jesus. All right. For those of you that know, yeah.
So there's a. So we're living in a politically correct age.
We kind of are.
And it's like one of my favorite shows. Just Michael Scott.
I would actually work for that man.
Steve Carell.
If that was a real person,
if I could work there.
If I could, I would work for that man.
Up. I don't care.
Neither did he.
I will change the toner. Finger quotes.
That's the name of my porno.
That's the whole office thing, and just the world.
What is that? Cancel culture?
10 years ago, and it probably a good 5. It's probably been it's like since the dawn of it's been brewing since the dawn of man,
right?
And it's somebody finally let it catch up. Who let that crap slide?
Oh my goodness!
But this whole cancel culture and political correctness is the political correctness has gone a little too far. But so it's because of the whole Office and the Michael, it was like that's what she said, So it was always
that's the name of my porno.
That's it. So instead of saying that's what she said,
yes,
you say that's the name of my porno,
right?
And actually, just as funny, if not funnier.
Is it more PC or less PC at that point?
That's the name of my porno. Well, it's not gender based.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of my porno, and it's self-directed. It's self-defamation, right? It's self-deprecation.
Listen, I've been self-deprecation my entire life. I've been self-deprecating my entire life.
When I was gone for about 5 minutes, I was self-deprecating myself.
You know what?
That's what that.
No, that's not self-deprecating.
That's the name of my porno.
Jesus. Wow. How's your cocktail over there, Jamie?
So, all right. So we did an episode earlier. So Man Cave Happy Hour.
ManCaveHappyHour.com. Subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You're going to end up finding us eventually. Whether you like it or not, it's going to come across your feed and you're going to be entertained. Or you're going to share it with your friends and you'll be like, listen to these assholes. Right.
So thanks to today,
Joe Louis Bourbon.
We want to say to Joe Louis Bourbon has been partying with us again. It's the pandemic, right? Yes. People listen whenever, wherever, however.
Yes.
But we're about holy crap. No, today is March 15th
of 2022.
It's the Ides of March.
It is the Ides of March. Yes.
Et tu, Brute. Also the name of my porno. Et tu, Brutus. That would be there probably is a porno called that.
Oh, Jesus.
we're like way too hyper focused on porn today, but prior to the shutdown,
Yes.
and the porn, we were hanging with our guys from Joe Louis Bourbon, and they launched, and they're still rocking and rolling, and we're doing cool stuff with them. We're doing so anyway, they're helping out the show, and
for those of you that are listening audio, listening to the podcast, and you're subscribing, and
I'm
you're
flailing the bottle.
he's flailing the bottle around. He's just
in front
tossing
of
it
the
around.
camera.
But Joe Louis Bourbon, it hails out of Virginia, and I use that in quotations because before the state lines were redrawn, it actually was in Kentucky.
Yeah, Davis Valley used to be part of
right.
Kentucky, yeah.
So but Joe Louis Bourbon, there's a legacy there.
Oh yeah,
and that's why we help them. I would say we helped them right back in March of 2020 when they first came to Michigan, and understanding the legacy behind Joe Louis, and there's so much behind this man, and what he's done. We were talking about him earlier. He got into golf after his boxing.
He was
career.
one of the first African Americans on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
People don't know that. I mean, they know him for boxing and what he did. He was such a humanitarian. He was such the giver to his community here in the Metro Detroit area.
Correct.
It's just astounding the philanthropy that he gave, right. And then and he just
see, I don't know,
amazing things. People just remember the fist downtown, right. The boxing.
But I don't know what his address was in Detroit or what have you, but I can just imagine a young man running down the street, going to boxing class when his mother thought he was running down the street.
Gave him a quarter for violin lessons.
Correct. Running
and
down
he took that quarter
for boxing classes instead of violin classes. And his mother thought he was going to violin classes. But
I heart that guy.
Oh my goodness. But he started his own passion at a very young age. The story behind Joe Louis is just fantastic.
And we get into that. And if you go back, there's a couple of over the last 2 years, we did a crap ton of Joe Louis, and we just did one just a couple weeks ago, and then coming up. But we're gonna do a friend of the show is Sarah.
Yes,
from a flavor journal.
Yes,
and she's gonna curate. We just did
an episode with her
with the
witty comeback.
I was gonna say the risky business. I didn't use that one there.
No, you didn't. But that's good.
The man cave witty comeback.
Yes.
She did a signature because signature cocktails are a big trend.
Yes.
Talking about big trends.
We have a signature cocktail. It's the witty comeback.
It's the witty comeback, the man cave witty comeback. But she's going to make an awesome curated cocktail for some Joe Louis Bourbon. We're going to do that in a couple episodes. So stick close for that.
Please.
But, talk about big trends. That's the name of my porno.
Trends are big.
I don't know. I'm just trying to work that in.
You're doing a really
trying
good
to
job.
work that in. That's the name of my porno.
You're doing a really good job.
Trying to work that in. See, that would be right there. You would say, "That's what she said."
So in this,
then you say, that's the name of my porno.
That's the name.
So much more PC.
So great segue here. There's a gentleman that's kind of popular in the whole podcast whiskey business type deal.
Oh, there was a good segue there, and I blew it.
Is it? That's what she said.
That's the name of my porno. Yeah. But no, but there, crap. I had a segue there, which was something
it's all
about
good.
Curated and the curated cocktails, right? That's the trend. The trends,
curated
trends, and the curated cocktails. Another very big trend is curated barrels.
Oh, you know what?
That's where I was going. And so
we have friends.
And we have we got like.
we have friends.
So here's the thing.
We have friends across the world.
You define yourself by your friends. All my friends happen to own liquor stores.
What's on your Facebook feed, Mr. Flanagan?
Right on, fair play. So we got Big Tony down at the Wine Garden in St. Clair Shores.
Yes.
We got Joe and Giovanni up at Keiko's.
Yep.
And then over at A&B. Yeah, we got the cats over at A&B.
Ethan,
Ethan and those guys, and just amazing stuff. And there's a bunch of other stores that we work with and we shop in apparently way too frequently. And then you're going up to the Myers guy. It's like, how many people have asked you for blends today? And the Myers guy is like, dude, seriously, get I'm the beer custodian, not the wine steward. Get off me.
I don't work here. I just stock it.
Yeah. Fair enough. But but one of the big trends, in the party stores, the convenience stores, the big are the barrels and the barrel picks.
And we've talked about this. How many times have we talked about doing a man cave barrel pick?
A lot.
A few times.
And you know who just did one?
Help me out.
Our dear friends over in St. Louis.
Bourbon and Blondes. Yeah, they did a
Abby and
Maker's
Elena.
Mark.
They just did a barrel. Guess what I bought, Matt?
I think did you buy a bottle?
I bought me a fifth of Bourbon and Blondes Maker's Mark barrel pick, and they have an event coming up here at the end of this month.
Yes, but
Greta is going to. I paid them for it, and they're going to give it to Greta, who is the Maker's
Greta Harper. Yes,
diplomat.
Diplomat. It's a diplomat at Makers.
The Makers, they're representatives. They're diplomats. So Greta is like one of the diplomats for Makers, and she's gonna Pony Express.
She's gonna hand deliver that shit.
She's gonna Pony Express that back to us. Because we have 2 or 3 different like unique Makers bottles to try and talk about. So we got some cool Maker stuff happening. But there's this barrel picks, right? So bourbon and blondes.
Yes.
Did a barrel pick. Tony Weingarten. He's got a really cool Buffalo Trace pick that just came out. They just laid it out.
He's done Makers before, hasn't he?
Yeah. Where was that? I was just at Keiko's earlier. I think they have about 4 or 5 bottles left of their
is that his Japanese
bib? No, the Bib and Tucker.
Bib and Tucker.
The 12. It's a 12 year 1, 2, 12. It's a 12-year Bib and Tucker. It's like crazy ass barrel.
I'll tell you what.
I did not buy one yet, and it's because spring break is coming up, and I got to save some money because I'm like, we're going to Universal, which costs about $1 million freaking dollars to go. Hey, go have fun.
As we're recording, you know who's also live right now?
Who?
Bourbon and Blondes.
Oh yeah,
Elena and Abby. They're just so much fun.
Yeah.
They're fun to talk to. They're wonderful individuals. They do such a great job of representing themselves and what they do, and just talking about the bourbon industry in itself. And they're fun.
Are they? They're live right now.
Yeah, they're live right now.
Oh,
do we need to pause this and go back?
We should go crash their room. That's the name of my porno.
I was waiting for that.
That's but the barrel picks are the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like so many stores, like Tony's got that, and the Keiko's has that. It's really cool. The Bib and Tucker one. AB, he's got like amazing stuff in there. He created this. You got to go into these stores too. Their displays are just astounding. Joe over at Keiko's created this art installation about chasing unicorns, and he had like all the different, because Blanton's, if people know Blanton's, you said Blanton's. But he has all the different little, because each the Blanton's, there's a stopper, and there's a different stopper for each letter in the word Blanton's.
Is there?
Yeah, and each of the ponies is in a different. Slightly different setting. It's a different
stride
pose of the gallop.
Yeah, the stride. Yeah,
and you put them together, and it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, but people couldn't consider that a unicorn is a bourbon that is difficult to find, right? And when you find a unicorn, it's a happy thing,
right? And
so Blanton's, a lot of people really desire Blanton's and want it. It's very very nice. I got one at home. It's very, very nice. Kind of much like the Grail.
Listen,
I got one at home.
It's very, very nice. Listen, I had a Blanton's at home. I did not keep the bottle.
Yeah.
I kept the stopper.
Yeah. No, you're supposed to save the stoppers. Once you get all of the stoppers and all the labels, if you send it to them, they will put it in a nice little. They got they do this like little thing with a stave.
Yes.
And they like line them up.
For you, and it's a big gallop, if you will.
That's
nice.
The
horse. Yeah, it's a brilliant.
It's a cool thing. It's great marketing,
yes.
And it's brand awareness. But people go kooky for the Blanton's.
I understand why. It's not a terrible juice. It's a very good juice at that. But there's a lot more juice out there to be had. And these folks that they try to pick and select different staves within the barrel itself to make their own private selection, if you will, and their own picks.
Well, and that's the thing. And here's the thing. That's why we like crack the mics again to talk today, because we wanted to do two things today. And we have not gotten to we have not
gotten to either one.
We haven't gotten either one yet.
We're still picking our nose.
The first is because we're talking about us, and it's so bloody interesting. The first thing was we wanted to break down this Redemption High Rye bourbon that we got from AB Liquor,
which we used for the last episode.
We did. We used it because we needed a rye.
Yes.
For the
witty
man
comeback?
cave, the witty comeback, the man cave witty comeback.
Yeah.
We needed a rye, and I had this. I'm like, well, this is special.
But why did
I'm going to use a special rye?
We had this rye. You got this rye because
it was a very special pick.
Yeah. And we consumed the Rittenhouse beforehand.
Yeah. Well, no, the Redemption's a step.
Redemption's a little bit better. Yeah,
really
it's yummy.
This is not, and I think this helped. I think this really augmented the cocktail.
Yes,
I think it really did.
Because this comes in at what, 105? You said?
Yeah, it is 105 proof,
okay.
52.5%.
So it's not a terribly spicy, or I hate the word spicy. Warm.
Yeah.
It's actually very
high
warm.
proof. Yep.
It's warm on the palate. It really is. It doesn't sit there and bite the back of your teeth off.
But here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, here's what we need more in our lives, right? Government control. Yeah, no, we don't. Hashtag, no, we don't.
No, I could say something I won't.
Hashtag the name of my porno.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. So no, we don't need more government control.
However,
there are in the bourbon and spirits and liquor world, there's like just a crap ton of regulations. There's weird regulations. There's antiquated regulations.
Yeah, right.
There's federal regulations. There's local regulations. There's just way too many bloody regulations.
How many cooks in the kitchen can we have until it becomes an absolute nightmare?
So, talking out of both sides of my mouth, we need regulation.
Well, here's the thing: we
need logical, thoughtful, uniform.
We just celebrated Bottled and Bond. Okay, we just celebrated.
Yep. We did Bottled and Bond Day,
and it was on what was it? March.
Bottled and Bond Day.
Yeah, March 12th or whatever.
3rd, I think.
March 3rd. Okay, we just celebrated that, and that kind of brought the whole whiskey bourbon industry to.
Let me check my tattoo. Yeah, it's Bottled. I got a tattoo.
Why am I not surprised?
Is that like memento stuff, or is it just like is it an homage? Is it an homage, or is it like a memento?
I enjoyed that movie.
All right, fair play.
But here's the thing: that legislation brought the bourbon industry to where it is today because
it helped.
But there's things happening now because of folks like Tony and Joe and what have you. They go out and they
pick these barrels.
They pick these barrels based on what their own taste profiles are, and these distilleries are catering to individuals that want to pick their own barrel. However,
so here's the thing: it's like some legislators or somebody said, "Hey,
something's not right."
The way distilleries are operating is outside of legal distribution and legal operational laws. So like, all right, so
it's like
if I'm Big Tony, and I'm like, I own 2 party stores, and I'm going to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna buy a barrel. I'm gonna have this special barrel for bottled and turned into 10 15 cases, whatever it ends up being, and I'm going to sell it as a special in my store. It's going to be a special thing that I tasted and I tried and I liked, and I'm going to sell this as, I'm going to call it, I have one, it's the flux capacitor is like 221 gigawatts.
220 gigawatts.
Well, how many gigawatts is it? How is it?
121.
Whatever it's 121 or whatever that number is.
Hold on, I'll find out.
That's what the proof was. Whatever it mimicked the proof of this bourbon, and so they called it the flux capacitor bourbon. And they make funny little stickers to go on the bottles. And so he was selling it as the flux capacitor, and I still have one. I haven't finished it off yet. It was a Russell's.
121 gigawatts.
So it's 120 proof,
Right.
120.1 proof. And so they had this like 120, and somebody in the group was like a total sci-fi nerd. And it's like 121 gigawatts. And then they all laughed like that.
Right.
And then they're like, all right, let's call it the flux capacitor. And they made a fun sticker. And so they come up with different themes and different ideas.
My
for
buddy Aaron would love that.
these different picks, right? But Tony had to go down there, and how this works is like Tony, or Joe and his Giovanni, or Aaron, or any of these guys. They go down there.
Anybody, these bourbon clubs that are out there,
the bourbon clubs,
our Michigan Bourbon Club,
Abby and Elena, they went down for their bourbons and blondes makers, and they picked, right?
Yes, they created their own taste profile.
Here is the problem. You can't do that. It's not the way they serve that liquor is actually kind of on the fringe and not quite legal, because the free tastings, and they consider those free tastings when you're down there. It's the samples, and you're sampling the barrels to pick something.
Yes.
They can't offer you more than 1.5 ounces for free. Right. So we live in Michigan. People listen to the podcast wherever, whenever. Mm-hmm. However, we're in Michigan.
Yes.
And Michigan is an amazing place. That's the name of my porno. Work, just stew on that a little bit.
I'm working on it.
But it is.
If you don't like it, it'll change in a couple of seconds.
It is.
And if you got that reference, you're from Michigan.
I know, fair play. The 42nd, I believe it's the 46th parallel.
Yeah.
46th parallel.
It's up in the west side of the
runs through just around Traverse City, and there's a peninsula up there.
The wineries that are up there.
And that is wine country in
Italy.
In France.
France. I'm sorry. Yeah, France.
We are from France.
We are from France. Yeah.
And so it's not the same, but it's a similar climate and similar times of the year. And so it's got a nice wine. We have a nice wine country in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They do better on their whites than their reds, but
that's your opinion.
They do a really nice. There's some fabulous wines that come out of Michigan because we're on that parallel with it. And I have no idea where I was going with this story.
You know what? But you were telling that story to share this story because of all the legislation that's happening and changing with these barrel picks. Because Tony and Joe and Elena and Abby, and they're doing their thing. The 1.5 ounce tasting.
Oh my God! You just travel. Yes. So you go up to Michigan. You can get, and they're very strict on how much they pour you when you go through these tastings here in Michigan. I mean, they're very strict on the pours. So when you go to Kentucky for to tour the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and if you're just a tourist, Joe Tourist, they're very constrictive of what they'll serve you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're party store owner going there
and doing
do a barrel pick
of your own barrel,
you're doing several picks, which ends up being more than the allotted amount
because it's 1.5 ounces of each barrel.
You can't. It's like it breaks the letter of the law for a tasting, for free tastings. It's crazy. So there was this Fred Minnick is like, God.
He's the godfather. He's the godfather of all whiskey.
There's Mark Gillespie.
Yep.
And there's Fred Minnick.
Yeah.
Just hats off to them cats.
I would love to sit down.
Oh my God, I want to party with those guys.
I would love to sit down with Fred
Minnick. We're gonna pull this out as a clip.
Mr. Minnick, if you're listening, we want to sit down with you because we're laymen's, and you know what?
We're lame asses.
Yeah, that works.
No. But Fred,
just have a good conversation with us.
But he does a Friday. He does a Friday like happy hour thing.
Yeah.
And he has like all these other podcasts in, and I'm like, Fred hasn't called us yet.
Well, that's okay.
One day we'll aspire. I aspire to that. But anyway, so Fred Minnick is the shizzle, and Mark Gillespie. But Fred, this comes from an article.
Can we sit them both down? The two of them?
Oh, dude, seriously, no. I do. I would love to have a dram with them.
Honestly,
not even on air or on camera. I would love to just have a dram with them because they're cool dudes.
Yep.
but there is. But Fred was writing about this, and I was like, "Holy shiitake mushrooms!" I did not know that this was an issue, because if you go into nearly any party store, holy crap, you go into the grocery stores.
Mhm.
You know, your favorite place, K. Roger.
Yeah. My favorite place, you asshole.
Your-
I have another favorite place.
the,
It's the Major.
the H. Hollywood.
The H. Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Listen, I have some honey pots.
Yeah.
Some honey spots.
Sure,
I
sure.
should say.
So, but no, it's like even those big chain grocery stores are doing barrel picks
Mhm.
for their stores. You know, the Meijer and the Kroger's.
I was just at one of those places. There
yeah, and they're like, it's like, holy
the Woodford
barrel
Preserve
pick.
double oaked is sitting there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
What's your price point?
and gas, but so I mean, there's barrel picks are like the deal, you know,
Mhm.
but they're fun, you know. People have fun with them, and you know and like
Look,
Tony gets to pick them, or
but those
Joe
barrels-
picks them.
Those barrels aren't cheap, Jamie.
No.
And these party store owners, they're trying to get the brand of that distillery out along
Right.
with their own flavor profile, so they can really get their brand out, or
So
regionally or what have you.
the
but
law is trying to clamp down on the
It's-
existing laws. And
Yes.
here's my thing, right?
Go for it.
Here's what we don't need: more laws.
No, we don't. But
But no. Here's the thing: this act that they're trying to do is trying to make sense of existing laws, because somebody is like, "Hey, what they're doing is outside of the law, and we need to clamp down on it." And it's like, what?
it
It's
doesn't
like
make sense.
there's like
Yeah.
retailers trying to pick barrels, and they come down and they're tasting several things to try to pick barrels, and you're trying to clamp down on it. It's bizarre.
Right.
It's almost, because it makes me say, yes, pass this law, and I'm never like, hey, pass that next law.
But you've
Yeah,
never
it's-
spent $12,000 on a freaking barrel.
Fair
have
enough.
you?
No, but because I normally what I say is like, there are enough laws. How about we just enforce the ones that we have
Right.
thoughtfully, right? But somebody's like, oh yeah, we have this law, let's enforce it, and they're enforcing it to the letter. And the law, that the way it is in the letter of it,
Mhm.
could shut down barrel picks,
Right.
which would hurt like all these retailers in all these other parts of the country,
Across the
everywhere.
country.
So it's an emergency. I told you that story to get to this story. So it's an emergency act to save the barrel selections. It just February of 2020. We're here
Mhm.
in March of 2020.
2022.
Kentucky State
Yeah.
Senator John Schnicknell authorized distillers to sample whiskey straight from the barrel. So a couple of senators co-authored the legislation, and the problem is the amount of whiskey that it's the problem. And here's one of the problems: a distillery shall not provide more than 1 3/4 of an ounce of samples per visitor. So Big Tony goes down there,
Mhm.
and he can only sample 1 3/4 of an ounce for free
Mhm.
before the distillery is crossing a line. Tony is we call him Big Tony.
Tony stands at a whopping 4'11"
Tony
on a good day. Sometimes
Tony was going to be a jockey at one point.
Well,
Tony, we love. I just
I
busted
love
his
that
chops.
man. I
Oh my
really
god,
love that man.
he like grew up somewhere
And
else.
I'm sure he hears it from everywhere else. But Big
Yeah,
Tony
Big
is
Tony,
he's
it's
got
his heart.
He's got the biggest heart. His heart is on his sleeve.
He's not a
man.
tall dude by any stretch of the
He's
imagination.
amazing.
But so for Big Tony, that's plenty.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only one, right? And that's like 1 3/4 of an ounce is not it. You could sample maybe 2 barrels out of that, right? That's just 1 ounce is like not like a normal shot is like 1.5 to 2 ounces. So that's not even a shot. It would be hard to taste. You would be 3 barrels would be the most things you could taste.
Right.
You could have 3 little in a very, very minuscule tastings.
See, here's the thing. The current regulation, the problem is a distillery shall not provide more than 1 3/4, like
Right,
you
right.
said, ounces of samples per visitor.
Right. Per
All-
visitor. Right.
All barrel picks actually violate
Right.
this sample size
Because they're in there and they're trying this, trying that, they're
Correct.
trying that, they're tasting it, then they're putting water in it. They're tasting it again.
But
you
a
know,
barrel
and they're
is
doing
not
it with a different.
a legal package of sample 4.
Right. So there's so many things wrong with it.
like,
And it's
taste-
but seriously, there's people that are trying to enforce,
right,
which is what I talking out of both sides of my mouth. I am totally for enforcing the laws that we have. We don't need more laws.
Right.
I don't need more government in my life.
no.
Don't pass another freaking law to control me.
But you can have a giraffe run down the street and not get fired for it.
But don't be a dick about it, for
Right.
Christ's sakes.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you're in
So-
politics, you've drank scotch, bourbon. don't give me this BS. You know
Right.
you want to do your own barrel pick.
Right. So it's like, but there's somebody who's enforcing this, and they're like, if we don't change this legislation, they're trying. There are people that, because there are people that are against the spirits industry,
Right.
and we've had it gone back and forth, and it ebbs and tides with conservatism
Mhm.
and overt religious fervor from one side or another.
But these two,
I don't want to pigeonhole any particular
No, you're good.
religion or
No,
anything, but
you're not. You're not.
but so but you get this religious fervor one way or another, and you get conservatism or liberalism, and they consider things different ways. I think it's kooky that they're trying to cut these things out. It's
Yeah.
just nuts.
But this bill that they're trying
This
to
bill
pass,
would alleviate that.
yeah, and it's trying.
So
to
I don't want more laws, but I'll take
eh,
this one.
And this new bill is trying to define barrel picks.
Define it.
It's not to
Yes.
define it. It's because the current bill opens up the door for outside states to actually challenge the legality of this.
Right.
Which, listen, if you are a retail store and you have a good palate and you're
Mhm.
trying to bring in more folks to buy your product and also recommend other things like Joe does at Keiko's, right? He turned us on to the Bib and Tucker.
Right. Oh my
Which-
God. Yeah.
And Bib and Tucker is amazing. Bib and Tucker is at the other place that starts with M and ends with the Ur.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I saw Bib and Tucker at that store.
Right.
Joe has an influence there. You have retail stores that are influencing these distilleries. Why are you limiting their ability to, one, sell a product, and two, make money as an American? if you
So
will?
now I told you that story to tell you this story.
Go for it. You poured more, so let's keep going.
I did. So we were enjoying the cocktail that
Mhm.
Sarah from A Favorite Journal
Mhm.
created for us. The Man Cave
Witty comeback.
witty comeback.
I'm gonna correct
It
you
was
every
like a
time.
ginger,
Ginger? Wow.
a ginger infused,
Ginger infused.
ginger infused
with a little bit of lemon
lemon.
and some maraschino cherry liqueur
From,
and some
uh,
Amaro liqueur
from the
and-
Avero. Yep. And but so what we were drawing, the base of it
Mhm.
was a rye.
Yeah, Redemption Rye.
Redemption Rye is a high rye, and it was a store pick.
But where do they hail from?
It was A&B Liquors.
Because here we are talking about Kentucky and all this other stuff and
Right.
distilleries.
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is it's distilled in Indiana and bottled by Bardstown Barrel Selections
out of
in
Indiana,
Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah.
This Redemption Rye is gorgeous. It's a pre-prohibition style
Mhm.
bourbons. Very, very nice.
I'll tell you what.
But this barrel pick, if they don't sort out this stuff with these laws, this wouldn't exist. This won't. The stores can't do this anymore, and it makes me nuts because this is fun.
With the
right?
barrel pick that you have right in front of you, where's it from again?
A&B Liquor.
A&B Liquor is in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so you can only get it at A&B Liquor. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah, but you get every store. Most nearly every store is going to have their barrel picks and stuff, and so
Correct.
yeah, you
And
find
that's the
you find your
thing.
local stores wherever you are, and you find your local owners and you find your local people that do
Your
serve you
local honey
well.
pot or spot.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
That's the next porno I'm doing. It's called Your Local Honey Pot.
Hey,
I'm just gonna keep saying that.
I take
'cause
offense to
you know
that,
what? You know what I'm
actually.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
I take offense to that.
It's never gonna get old.
I will never. I will not watch that porno.
I think Randy. Well, because your cat's name Honey Pot. I think that's why your aversion to the whole thing is that's the name of your cat, because you're like, wow, I'm banging my cat. What the hell?
No. That's just a
Messed
whole
up,
other
man.
issue, man.
Who am I? Hugh Hefner?
No,
Have you been watching the Playboy Bunny, the Playboy documentary?
I have
thing?
not.
There's like a whole Playboy documentary, like the like all the ex bunnies are like, oh yeah, he was a freaking monster.
Duh.
Yeah, his like main guests were like Bill Cosby, and it's like it's just like it's like the monsters out. Talk about Monsters Incorporated. Holy crap! Allegedly.
These one-eyed monsters walking around.
Allegedly,
Named Mike Wazowski.
That's the next.
Mike
the name of-
Wazowski. That's the name of my porno.
That's my
Mike
next porno.
Wazowski. One-eyed monsters
One
walking
eye
around.
Yeah. But
If
so
you-
Barrel
wow,
picks.
that was terrible.
all right.
All right,
But
one-eyed monsters.
I would just.
All right.
But the redemption ride. Were we gonna break this down? Is that what we were doing?
I attempted to.
So all right, go ahead. No, but
Well, okay, so they're out of Indiana, right?
Yep.
Indianapolis.
Mhm.
Do they sit on that? Are they at that one place in Bardstown that don't pay attention to the time change? No, that's not. Okay. So when you first tasted this evening, we had it with a cocktail. This is the first time that we've ever had a rye or a bourbon before we had it neat.
right. Yeah.
So this was the first time that we've ever had this not
Sure,
in
sure.
a neat fashion. But after having it in a cocktail, the witty comeback,
Yeah.
and then you try it on its own, just pure.
It stands. It stands. There's something in here. There's a smell because I got my fresh glass. I got a fresh glass.
You
for it.
do. You do.
I did.
I don't. You do.
I did because there was like a lot of ginger and there's a lot of stuff happening in that other glass. But there's an aroma in here that I'm trying to put my finger on.
120 episodes or so, and we've never. This is the first time we tried something after the
Mhm,
fact.
mhm, mhm.
So single barrel select redemption rye, the high rye bourbon, 105 proof. This was barrel number 21-116.
All right, it's not a caramel.
No, there's vanilla. I get the vanilla.
It's like okay, vanilla. It's okay, give me this, right? A Werther's,
Mm-hmm.
a vanilla Werther's.
Ooh,
So like if it was like
we need to make a phone
swirled,
call.
if it was like a swirled
We
vanilla, like the Werther's, it's like that hard candy.
We need to make a phone call.
So it's like a vanilla infused Werther's.
And in this bottle, this was bottled.
Rye, and it's a rye.
This was bottled a year and 4 days ago
Yeah.
because this was bottled on.
I got to get to
No,
A&B.
I'm sorry.
I might need another one.
A
of
little
these.
less than a year. I'm sorry. This was bottled on 5/11. I can't see, my glasses suck.
Sure.
So 5/11/21 is when this was bottled, and we're recording on
Mhm.
March 15th of 2022. So a little bit less than a year that it's been in the bottle sitting. But yeah, that vanilla feel is there. I get
It's it's a Werther's. What I have is Werther's, and
I just-
vanilla.
I just sniffed the actual liquid,
Yeah, that's nice. That's
not the
nice.
microphone, the actual liquid. I'm
That's
trying to
gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
So I'm gonna smell that.
It's
for
more on the. It's on the nose too. It's like crazy on the nose. It's like that Werther's on the nose on me. It's a
Yeah.
Werther's on the nose. It's a Werther's on the nose, and when you taste it, it's Werther's swirled with vanilla for me. And then sweet, and then everything else, bourbons and whiskeys are the vanilla, the
They're there.
karma,
It's
the
there.
apple.
It's all there.
It's all those things.
But the warmth of it at
Mhm.
a 105,
Just right at the right spot.
Yeah.
It's not blowing your head off because you get like some of those stags, and it's like just blow the top of your head off.
Which I
Which-
don't mind every once in a while.
And
but
is the name of my next porno.
blow your top
Top of your head
up.
up.
And we're back to this. All right, here we go.
I'm 12. If you can work that joke, just work it till it's uncomfortable.
I'm just gonna pick my nose. In the
Work it
corner.
till uncomfortable. Name of my next porno.
I'm gonna pick my nose in the corner. That's the name of my next porno.
That's the name of my next.
I had a sandwich.
Oh my god, that's the name of my next porno.
It was good.
It works. It just I'm putting it on a t-shirt.
I had
Wear
turkey.
wearingfunny.com. Go to
If you go to wearingfunny.com, you're gonna find a
there's a
t-shirt.
t-shirt that says that's the name of my next porno.
Yeah,
I think I need to do that.
you can say I had a turkey sandwich.
I have to. That's
It was good.
it was good. And we customize each one with mustard splashes.
At the right hand corner,
And it's
on the right.
and it's mustard.
Can we customize it so it's on the right shoulder or the left shoulder?
That's
Depending on which way you bend.
Oh, good Lord.
Hey, you went there.
I did. All right. So we told you that really long story about barrel picks.
That was terrible.
And laws and legislation and are things that are right with the world to say,
You try the
go to your local store, support your local store, whatever local store that treats you well. Because I tell this story all the time.
Please,
right? Going into the wine garden.
Yeah. All right. Your first experience with
4.5, 5 years ago, before we were doing the podcast.
You sit down and you walk in.
And I just walk in. I got a buddy's we're going up to his cottage, and I want to take him a gift. And I know there's this party store that used to be in my old neighborhood that I liked and I enjoyed.
You lived there for quite a long time.
I did, but we were out of the neighborhood. So, but I went back to the store, and I'm looking around, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are you looking for?" I'm like,
So when you say this guy walked up to you, who was it?
The owner wanted to buy someone who worked at the store. Okay. I have no idea. I've been in there, but I don't know these.
You walk in, you stand at a good 6'2", yourself, right? You walk in, you're looking around, and this guy approaches
6'1" with a tailwind, but all right.
And this guy walks up to you, and he says,
and he's like, "Hey, what are you looking for? Can I help you?" And I'm like, yeah, I got, I'm going up north. Friends keeping us company for a week. I want to bring him a gift. I want to bring him. He's an Irish guy. He's into the Irish heritage. I want to bring him a nice Irish whiskey. What would you suggest?
And this person suggests.
He's like, oh, and he's just off, and he's talking,
going off, and
he's like, I got this one open. Come on over here, let's try it. And I'm like, what?
And you're at the wine garden in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, right?
I'm like, what? Yeah, the wine. And I'm like, okay. And so we go and we try it. It's Big Tony, right? And so I'm like, hey, we get into talking. Tony, Jamie, okay, great. And I'm like, this is great. Thank you. He's like, oh, it's my store. And so this is like the first time that I had been in there a handful of times because I lived like right there. Yeah. And actually, I was in that place before it was a party store. It used to be a banquet hall, and you and I DJ. Yep. I DJ'd parties in there. Anyway,
yes.
So I DJ. I've been in that building like several times, like before Tony owned it.
See where those bourbons are?
Yeah.
I saw dancing.
We were doing the chicken dance on the conga line. So he sets me up, with this bottle. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And just the nicest, and doesn't know me from Adam. I'm not like the regular customer,
but he took the time to understand what you were doing
and you were looking for. Here's another thing. So we started getting into the show and started getting into the bourbons. I started going to like places like people say, oh, this is a good bourbon store. This is a good bourbon store. So I go to this one on Woodward in Royal Oak, and I'm like, oh, they got some pretty cool stuff on the shelves. And I'm like, wow, you guys got that. I go, that's really interesting. I'm like, he's like, well, he goes, you don't shop here enough to be able to buy that. I'm like, what? Yeah. He goes, no. Those are from my customers. He goes, I don't know who you are.
Who am I?
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I will
not be back.
You know how I said I'm not a customer? You are right. and I won't be. You got some nice stuff on the shelves, but go fuck yourself.
Is he still in business today?
They are, but I don't know how. I don't know why or how. Right. It's
I don't know who you are or what you think you do.
Yeah,
but you have to take care of people.
So find a store that treats you like Big Tony treated. It's just, and they're out there. You just, and if one isn't it, go to the next one. Yeah. And if they're like, oh, you need a card to show your loyalty. It's
if you're interested in learning about what's inside the bottle, the juice itself, there are party store owners, there are retail store owners, there are folks out there that will help educate you.
Oh yeah.
As an educator myself, and as an educator yourself,
yep,
we are there to help educate folks. Right? We don't want to tell them what they want. We are there to help them discover what they like.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
And that's where this bill Really, I just want to bring it back full circle. That's where this
I'm just
bill.
a bill.
I'm just a bill.
I'm lonely, a bill. Keep going. And I'm
That's where I
sitting
really
here
want
on
folks to
Capitol
understand.
Hill.
If you want to understand what you like,
Mhm.
this bill doesn't help anybody.
Right.
It really doesn't,
Yeah.
because there are folks out there that want to educate you, but then bring you back to the redemption rye. Hey,
Oh,
you should try what I selected because this is what I feel is really important about the taste.
the
and
two stores that if you're in the Metro Detroit area,
Mhm.
I there's like so many great stores, but
across the
I mean,
country.
yeah, and again, you're gonna get your guy just Tony and Joe, or Tony at the Wine Garden, Joe at Keiko's.
We're lucky to
are
have
just,
them. We're lucky to have them as partners within the Man Cave.
I
Happy
consider
Hour.
them friends. I consider them,
Okay, friends.
outside of, no, yeah, and I consider them friends outside
Mhm.
of anything. They're
Mhm.
just great, and they're good. They're good people. Um,
They're yeah.
it's just hard to go around. There's so many great people out
Mhm.
there, though.
See, I'm not as close as to Tony and Joe as you are.
Yeah.
Life happens, what have you. But I'm glad that you have formed relationships. That's the whole point behind bourbon and whiskey
Mhm.
is friendship.
Yeah.
Because you sit down and you have a dram with a friend, and you just get to talking.
Oh my
And the
God.
more you have,
Kind of like
unfortunately,
we have for the last
Yeah.
45 minutes, and haven't said a bloody fucking thing.
I think that's podcasting in itself, is it not?
Yeah. No, it is. Really.
Yeah, it's
pretty much.
podcasting. Right. But yeah, that's the whole point, is sitting down and understanding one another. And bourbon kind of brings people together.
Oh yeah. So,
I want more.
more laws, less laws.
I don't know.
Depends on how much of my bourbon you're cutting off with them laws. And
So
then
I cannot wait to have Abby and Elena on the show.
talk about, because the bourbons and blondes.
It's on its way.
We're gonna sit down with Greta from Ambassador,
Greta Harper, yes.
and we're gonna go through the community bottle and the bourbons and blonde bottle.
Absolutely.
And then talk to Elena and Abby about
I cannot
how they
wait.
picked their bottle,
Cannot wait for that.
how it's being distributed, and their profits. The way they're doing it is going to
Charity.
a women's women's charity in St. Louis. They're in St. Louis, so yeah. Cheers to them for doing it, and
I wanna
Matthew.
Jamie, I
cheers to you for doing the Man Cave.
your friendship
Oh yeah, cheers,
is amazing. Man. Thank you for that. It's been a tumultuous year for me.
Oh,
but you know what? We're gonna keep pushing forward.
Hell yeah. All right. Till next time, like, subscribe, leave a comment, all those podcasty things that podcasters say. And
podcasters.
Yeah. The podcasty things
podcasty things.
Podcasters say.
You know what? Man Cave Happy Hour.
Cheers.
Cheers.